Hello and welcome to Nimasa this week. I am Frank Ido. It's a pleasure to have you here one more time. I'm sure you are yearning to find out what's going on in the maritime industry, and by all means, we shall tell you. We're going to start with the collaboration between IMO, of course, and Nimasa to make sure that the maritime sector is made the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. Yuletide is coming and it's a season for sharing and giving and love. Well, Nimasa is doing just that through its CSR commitment to internally displaced persons and the supply of e-learning materials to public schools. And also, we have a wonderful, wonderful collaboration between Nimasa and the Bank of Industry. What are they going to do? They're going to make sure that they develop wonderful facilities for asset acquisition in the maritime sector. It's going to be a wonderful package. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Nimasa this week. All right, let's start the program with what the federal government is doing with the International Maritime Organization, IMO, to make sure that the maritime sector is the mainstay of Nigeria's economy. Well, the federal government organized a three-day workshop, a regional workshop, if you may, and it took place in Lagos. What was the discussion? Well, the focus was how to mainstream Nigeria's maritime sector. Well, Nimasa this week was there to report, and here it is.
It was a gathering of maritime stakeholders from 16 countries from the West and Central Africa region. The two-day regional workshop on United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework had the theme, "A Process to Mainstream the Maritime Sector," was organized by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Nimasa in conjunction with the International Maritime Organization IMO and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa UNECA. The Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, who was represented by the Nimasa Director General Dr. Dakuku Peterside, noted that the Maritime Transport Plan and Strategy, when fully completed, will provide a robust enabling framework for achieving Nigerian maritime objectives and foster public-private sector collaboration and inter-regional cooperation.
If we think about trade without shipping, it's almost an impossibility. So if trade contributes to the prosperity of people, that key enabler, if that key enabler is missing, then we are not serious about trade. Then we cannot experience redevelopment. Trade enhances the quality of living of a people. Trade creates jobs. Trade creates wealth. But the enabler, the common denominator for the sustenance of trade is shipping or seaborne transportation.
Speaking further, he stated that as the African continent verges ahead with Phase 2 negotiations for the creation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, the maritime sector remains critical to seamless trade and effective economic integration between African nations.
In the continent, we have championed, as Nimasa and as a maritime administration, we have championed cooperation amongst maritime administration in Africa through the leadership role we are playing in AMA. AMA, of course, you know, is the Association of African Maritime Administrations. We have enjoyed a tremendous support from the IMO. And what we have done is that we help countries on peer-to-peer basis to drop a master plan on measures necessary to progress maritime agendas envisaged in the African Maritime Transport Charter. We also strengthen cooperation at the regional, continental, and international levels in harmonizing policies and goals necessary for the growth of the African maritime sector. We promote sharing of best practices.
The Director, Technical Cooperation Division of the IMO, Mr. Juvenal Shuindu, in his remarks, gave the assurance that the IMO is committed to assisting member states on the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goal (SDG) agenda.
As a specialized agency of the United Nations charged with the responsibility to maintain global standards for safe, clean, and efficient maritime transport, IMO has an important role to play in assisting member states to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals, including Agenda 2030. With more than 60 years of experience and knowledge in maritime trade, IMO has continuously enhanced its contribution to sustainable development for the benefit of the 174 member states, civil society, and other relevant stakeholders, together through cooperation to further strengthen efforts towards sustainable development. This regional workshop is one of such many efforts.
The two-day workshop is to create a forum for all the key players and stakeholders involved in the cooperation framework process to meet, establish the necessary contacts which will be needed for future collaboration and for the inclusion of maritime in the mainstream of the economic strategies towards economic growth.
When we bring all the stakeholders together, then they realize the importance of trying to ensure that the maritime sector is given the attention it requires right from the political leadership.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa. We are charting the direction for our maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are Nimasa. New face, rejuvenated service. Nimasa, changing the tides in your favor.
A new dawn in transportation is about to take place. The transportation industry of our dreams is about to become a reality. Toyota on the Move, the Chartered Institute of Transportation Administration of Nigeria, invites you all to its maiden transportation summit.
Theme: Unlock the potential of transportation for sustainable development.
Coming up on the 3rd to 5th of December 2019. Venue: the Musa Yar'Adua Center, Abuja. Together, we can develop the transportation sector of our dreams that is effective, efficient, and secure.
I am Dr. Bashir Jamu. I look forward to seeing you in the National Transportation Summit from 3rd to 5th December 2019 at the Yar'Adua Center, Abuja.
The future of transportation is here, and Toyota is taking you there.
The Gulf of Guinea serves as key navigational routes for international commerce, connecting the Far East to countries at the north and south of the Atlantic.
In dealing with physical security, such as piracy and armed robbery, the increasing threat of cybersecurity to shipping should not be ignored, and this has now joined the list of topics being addressed by IMO. The threat posed by piracy and armed robbery against ships has been on IMO's agenda since the early 1980s. In the late 1990s and the early 2000s, the focus was on the South China Sea and the Straits of Malacca and Singapore. More recently, the focus of piracy activity has turned to the African coast after the significant rise in such activities of Somalia and now the Gulf of Guinea. IMO has developed guidance on piracy for use by governments and ship owners operators. As well, the industry organizations and the shipping industry in particular has been very active in developing guidance on piracy and armed robbery. Underpinning all the work on maritime security, and which is crucial, is interagency, regional, and international cooperation and collaboration for the development of national and regional maritime security strategies. Nigeria, as convener and host of this conference, sits at the heart of the Gulf of Guinea. This region is noted for huge gas and oil reserves, minerals, and abundant fisheries. This, combined with the geophysical strategic location for shipping movement, makes this region a vitally important part of the global economy.
Let's join hands to manage and secure our waters.
Welcome back. Now, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing for our growing maritime industry if investors could easily find facilities to finance asset acquisition? Don't you think so? Well, it would be nothing short of maritime utopia. Well, coincidentally, that's what happened in the topic of discussion when the managing director of the Bank of Industries met with the management of Nimasa. What were they discussing? Have a look for yourself.
After a long and hard struggle by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Nimasa for a single-digit interest facility in aid of operators in the country's maritime industry, the Director General, Dr. Dakuku Peterside, says he can see light at the end of the tunnel. The indication emerged when the Managing Director of the Bank of Industry, BOI, Olukayode Piton, paid a courtesy visit to Nimasa at the agency's corporate headquarters in Lagos. The credit facility is meant to help in the procurement of maritime assets to put operators in a position to compete favorably with their foreign counterparts. Dakuku, who received the BOI delegation, said the meeting with Nimasa was a follow-up to the agency's efforts to ensure that Nigerian players are competitive in the global maritime arena. Speaking during the visit, the MD of BOI commended the Nimasa management led by Dakuku for its various transformative initiatives in the maritime sector. He said the initiatives had brought renewed confidence in the maritime industry, and BOI was ready to partner with Nimasa because the viability of the sector would rub off on the entire economy. The BOI Managing Director disclosed that it had an existing financial model in partnership with the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, which could also benefit the maritime sector if applied. He stated, "We are proposing a partnership with Nimasa on vessel financing. We already have a similar partnership with NCDMB that is currently running at a single digit of 8%, with little or zero risk for NCDMB since the fund invested is guaranteed by BOI. This model, we think, can also benefit Nimasa and the entire maritime sector." At the end of the meeting, Nimasa and BOI agreed, among other things, to work out modalities on financing the acquisition of vessels at a single-digit interest rate, provision of guarantee for the funds that Nimasa will entrust to BOI, and management of the portfolio to guarantee effectiveness.
Yuletide is coming again, and it's time for every man to share good cheer from here and there. And you have to do it until your wallet endures tear and wear. I'm just forming this as I go. But the motive is for us to make sure that everybody has a smile on their face. Now, the source of that smile could be you. Well, the Master is doing its best to ensure that this season is filled with a lot of gifts, giving, and happiness in the hearts of man by once again doing what they started in 2012. That's right, the donation of items to internally displaced persons. And it's the turn of Rivers State. You will know from our former reports that we've been traversing all geopolitical zones, and Rivers State was the next one that we went to. It was a fantastic thing as smiles were put on the faces of the IDP.
Food items in various forms, clothing materials, household utensils, small-scale machines for small-scale businesses were among the items Nimasa took to the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA office in Rivers State. They are for onward delivery to victims of natural disasters in form of flood. Director of NEMA in the South-South Zone, Mr. Walson Brandon, who received the items on behalf of the agency's DG, commended Nimasa for the initiative.
Nimasa is a partner. We have been working together whenever there is disaster response, and today they are here again. We are thanking them. The gratitude is not enough.
Hajia Lami Tumaka, Nimasa Director Special Duties, led the Nimasa team to deliver the items.
We're doing this because we recognize the pain of the people that have been affected by this flood. We're doing this because Nimasa is a socially responsible corporate organization. We started this journey about since 2012, since the country started experiencing flood, and in the northeastern states where you have the internally displaced people. So we started this journey since then, and we have been quite consistent. We've gone almost around the entire states of the country, and we will continue doing it.
It is worthy of note that the federal government has consistently encouraged interested philanthropists to partner with government in order to cater for the needs of Nigerians affected by disaster. It is in line with this that Nimasa is carrying out the CSR activities across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country.
And the philanthropy rages on as we switch from internally displaced persons to the donation of educational materials to public schools. This has been done in the past, and Nimasa is continuing, and it is rightly apt because it is, of course, the Christmas season, and it's a season for giving. Well, we went to the southwest, and some schools in the north also benefited. I'll not let the cat out of the bag. Here's a report on Nimasa's CSR.
Representatives of Dr. Bala Usman College, Daura, Diko College, Katsina, Government Girls Secondary School, Bukura, Zamfara State, and Government Girls Secondary School, Kofar Gayan, Zaria, were on hand to receive the items Nimasa donated to improve the quality of learning in these public schools. Books, writing materials, smartboards, desktops, and laptops were amongst the items donated to the schools.
Today, I'm assuring the present that this item you want to ask are going to then judiciary as the government of the pension system. Inshallah, we are going to the judiciary for the benefit of our students and the state as well as the country at large. This, I say, thank you very much. Allah make us reach our houses. Thank you.
The Executive Director, Admin and Finance, Nimasa, Dr. Bashir Jamo, led the Nimasa team to donate the items. He noted that the agency is committed to quality education for the Nigerian youth.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, therefore, will not sit down and hold arms by giving these donations to this school without monitoring what the school they are doing and the progress they are making. We are therefore encouraging you to come up with innovations in terms of competition. We want to hear that as a result of this, our children, they are excelling, not only in Kaduna State but in the country, not only in Nigeria but also in the world, just like our children won a competition for the maritime industry for the world in general in Singapore just 2-3 weeks ago.
From the northwest, we take you to the southwestern part of the country, where the agency's Executive Director Operations, Engineer Rotimi Fashakin, led the Nimasa team to convey the agency's message of hope to public schools. These items, all of them, were presented to 4 schools in the region They are Baja Boys Secondary School and Government Secondary School, both in Lagos. Others are Oyemekun Grammar School and Fiwashaye Girls Secondary School, both in Akure and Ondo State.
We are boarding house school based, and students don't go out. So this one will really help us. Where we give them assignment, they'll have enough computers to do the assignment, to research, to go on internet and get fast out. And it's going to really add to the quality of the education we are trying to impart on them.
I would say it's a real privilege for us to be here and for my school to be considered for this big quality products. This will go a long way in lifting us from analog level to digital level. Nothing is so small. No public school can have enough because we have the downtrodden that are with us and they need to be lifted. Nimasa has lifted us. Our God will continue to lift Nimasa.
Engineer Rotimi Fashakin explains why Nimasa embarked on this project.
It is time we brought back the glory, of yesteryears back to the public schools. So that's why Nimasa is trying to, this is just the very beginning of what we want to do in terms of our CSR, corporate social responsibility to the society. So for us, we know that one of the ways in which we can identify with what government is doing and complement it, with demonstrable action is by what we have just done now, to try to help out, with our own little contributions. Again and again, we shall not rest on our oars. We are spurred on by what we've seen today. I mean, we saw real exhilaration, real excitement, on the faces of the principals. I mean, many of them were aghast, that could this really be? Is it really true that this is happening in our country, in our nation? And so we are happy.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are Nimasa. New face, rejuvenated service. Nimasa, changing the tides in your favor.
Well, I want to say thanks to Nimasa for this corporate social responsibility of the public schools, internally displaced persons. I think Nimasa should be like a microcosm for mankind. You don't have to be very organized in terms of philanthropy to give. All you have to do is, the little you have, there's a saying that every little helps. So the little you have, give this season. Thank you enormously for watching. We've come to the end of the program. Now, next week, we're going to still harp on what Nimasa is doing regarding CSR. We're going to go to the northeast, the southeast, and north central zones. They're going to experience that benevolence that Nimasa is doing all over Nigeria. All right. Okay, so it's time to go. Now, when we usually go, we talk about the Nimasa Stakeholders Dinner. Am I going to talk about it this time? Of course I am. The frenzy is too much. I mean, it's going to be a wonderful event. And I know this time will be no exception. So thank you for watching. We'll be back next week with another fabulous edition of Nimasa This Week, telling you about the policies, the achievements, the accolades, and of course, the plans of Nimasa in the Nigerian maritime industry, making it beneficial for the Nigerian economy as a whole. Thank you very much for watching. On behalf of the crew, I'm Frank Edo. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Can we put our hands together?
Let's do a proper appreciation
It's a special
for him.
recognition award.
DG, sir, would like you in this photo. Can we have our DG for Nimasa in the photo, please? We'd like you to join the photo, sir, please.
Special recognition award for all his contributions to the maritime sector, to Nimasa, and to transportation as a whole. This award has been sanctioned by all of the stakeholders in the maritime sector in Nigeria. Can we please put our hands together for him again?